Episode 201, Study Session 10, Principles of Method, Introduction. According to Hancock, 1997, this principle is one of the most direct expressions in practice terms of the ethical principle of respect for the innate worth and dignity of each human being. It is based upon the right of human beings to be individuals and to be treated not just as human beings, but as this human being. This study session will discuss the concept of individualization in social work. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to explain individualization in social work practice and state specific capacities a social worker requires for implementing individualization principles. Terminologies. Principles of method means qualified approaches of every social worker to client problems. Method means what is expected from social worker to the client and how this expectation is performed. Individualization. This is a direct principle of expression in method based upon the right of human beings to be individuals and to be so treated. The social worker should ensure that he or she is accurately in touch with these people, that is, the clients and their problems. This therefore requires a firm sense of the social worker's concerned attention to understanding that the character of the client struggles to reflect that person's unique individuality. Individualization as a method of principle in social work practice is defined as the recognition and understanding that the client's difficulty and pain, while they may be similar to or even shared with others in the same overall situation, is uniquely different to each individual. Hancock, 1997. In furtherance of this method of principle of individualization, social workers must be free from bias and prejudice, must have adequate knowledge of human behavior and knowledge of various ethnic and religious cultures in the community where they work, and the ability to listen and observe. All social workers must have the ability to move at the client's pace, the ability to enter into the feeling of people, involving empathy, self-awareness, controlled emotional involvement, and a non-judgmental attitude. Finally, social workers must possess the ability to keep perspectives, to see the client in a systemic relationship to their social environment, and flexibility, which involves the ability to change objectives and/or methods intervention in keeping with the client's developing needs. Biestek, 1957, Skelsinger and Devor, 1979, and Hancock, 1997. Freedom from bias and prejudice. The social worker may face such prejudices as race, skin, color, ethnic, political or religious affiliation of the clients. Also, prejudice could stem from a particular trade, profession, economic status, sexual preference, or a specific personal deficit, such as alcoholism, physical violence, or the inability to hold a steady job. Most of these prejudices are rooted in ignorance. Such workers' biases may be carried over from childhood. Thus, the social worker needs to constantly remind himself or herself that the clients are who they are, and he or she is who he or she is. The social worker must not let the old fears, anger and pain get in the way of the meeting the responsibility to help his or her clients with the difficulty that has brought them to him or her. Capacities for implementing individualization. Knowledge of human behavior. This is an integral part of the professional social worker's intellectual equipment. The social worker's essential learning for the understanding of troubled people, whether they meet the clients as individuals, families or groups, organizations or communities, is drawn from the disciplines of psychology, psychiatry, sociology, medicine, and philosophy. The social worker's task and unique contribution is that of putting together selectively knowledge from these fields appropriate in each instance in order to understand the whole biopsychosocial reality of the clients and to help clients make effective use of the agency's service. Social workers sometimes hear people assert that common sense, life experience, and compassion are more significant than theory in helping people in trouble. Common sense in this context can be seriously overrated. It is almost by definition a generalization that has no place in individualization of each and every person who comes to the social worker in trouble. The client's view of what is practical and workable for them may have nothing in common with the social worker, and the social worker's view of what is sensible for the clients may make no sense to them at all. A social worker's life experience may be valuable, but one should not assume it as an automatic key to understanding another's feeling. It can be useful as a way of entering into clients' feeling about their situation, but only if social workers have recognized and accepted it as social workers. It is not a recipe for solving a similar problem for another unique individual. Compassion is an indispensable quality in our approach to helping people. It is also a major component in our motivation to become social workers. There is a need to learn to care deeply about the struggles and the pain of everyone in need of our help. While caring is necessary, it is by no means a sufficient quality for effective helping professional. It has to be coupled with knowledge of human behavior and theories of study, assessment, and intervention. The concept of individual difference applies equally to groups of persons. Each family, despite similarities in age, family composition, economic status, ethnic background, etc., will have its own unique patterns of relating, of defining difficulties, dealing with conflicts, identifying causes, and solving problems. The same will apply to form groups, whether their purpose is personal growth or task accomplishment. Hancock, 1997. Likewise, each community or organization will have its own particular characteristics, its way of interrelating, its power structure, its way of dealing with conflicts, its own perception of the root causes of the difficulty, and its own approach to problem solving. Hancock, 1997. Social workers, therefore, need to select different models, skills, and methods in their practice, tailoring these to the specific needs of each as they are presented. Social workers should demonstrate the capacity to move with each client at a pace and direction determined by the client's perception of the problem. Insensitivity to the client's pace can stall the helping process because the client may feel that the caseworker is taking over. Pacing is the guide and test of individualization. However, taking over and imposing our own rate of movement upon the client by social workers can sometimes be simply a function of the social worker's need to be immediately helpful. The issue of pacing is equally important in working with families. Social workers must be sensitive to the feelings of each member of the family as they begin to explore with the social workers and with each other how it feels to be present together to talk about what is troubling them. For some families, this may be their first experience of coming together for such a purpose. Why it is important to observe and identify significant interaction between family members, social workers need to be careful that they are not hasty in labeling and or dealing openly with the disclosure of feelings, whose expression has quite possible been a taboo in this family's rules. Hancock, 1997. In conclusion, as social workers learn and understand more about their clients, they need to be ready to modify the objectives as well as the methods of their intervention. This is a specific way of individualizing the events. Study session summary. In this study session, we discussed that individualization is based on the right of human beings to be treated as these human beings, not just a human being. We also noted, again, that individualization requires some specific capacities in the worker for its implementation. Individualization is one of the cardinal principles of professional social work. Its implementation in practice can make the crucial difference between a truly professional, personalized kind of help and a technically competent but all-involved processing of troubled persons. End of study session 10. Thank you for listening.